I really want to make a video. There is a construction right by my house. And I really hope that they're going to be quiet because I've been waiting for 40 minutes. Because I really want to talk about shame. It's a very important topic, so if you hear any noise like this, don't pay attention. Okay. Because we have to concentrate. So this is the time when we practice our concentration skill. So shame. A lot of subs feel enormous amount of shame around who they are and what they do. What they do comes from their personal needs, wherever they are. If we talk about these type of actions, they are not necessarily offline. These are not necessarily femdom sessions. These are also, online interactions with doms, including findoms. Like, what if your wife is going to find out that you send money to random girls? Or maybe you don't have a wife. I'm going to speak about shame in general because shame also refers to men, to submissive men. When they meet a new woman, they are afraid, they're ashamed to tell her about their preferences. They often fail to communicate their own needs, because they want to suppress it. They think that this is something that's going to be changed, something they can keep in control. But unfortunately, this is not how it works. The more you try to keep something in the dark, the more it grows, because darkness is the perfect place for growing stuff. And if we speak about shame in terms of like fear, what would people think when they find out that I'm a sub? Well, what kind of people? When you have this huge fear in your head, not only in your head, that basically paralyzes your whole body, if you think about it. And sometimes it takes the opposite role, like it gets arousing and hence blackmail fetish. So anyway, when you have this paralyzing fear, what do you imagine? Who do you imagine? Whose face do you imagine? Who's gonna tell you, look at you. Look at you. I knew it. You are weird. You're creepy. You're a very strange man. You should be ashamed of yourself. Who's gonna tell you that? Well, if you are married, that kind of becomes obvious, right? That's going to be your wife. But if you are not, who's going to tell you that? Because if you start imagining this type of situation, it can become familiar. Lots of men are so scared that their co-workers are going to find out, that their friends are going to find out, Like all these mates who see you as like a real bro, okay? Because again, you are trapped in some certain perception, how other people perceive you, and also self-perception. Of course, you know who you are. You know different sides of you. You know that you're a sub, but often the more you do, and actually there is a correlation, the more of a fetishist you are, the more ashamed you become of yourself. Because if you're just a sub, like low-key sub, let's say, in a fetish type of submissiveness, but more like, woman's pleasure-oriented sub, someone who is a gentleman, someone who just wants a woman to feel good. Usually, when we deal with this type of submission, there is so much less shame. The sun is going to make me blind. Okay, now it's better. But when we talk about more or less or more hardcore fetishes, okay, I'm not gonna mention that, but we all understand what I mean. So when you see, that's the thing. We just took, I don't know who did, but okay, let's say we just took all types of paraphilia, all types of like men's weirdness, and basically puts like a bunch of it into the category of femdom. And often these fetishes have nothing to do with pleasure in a woman, And here we have to differentiate what kind of sub. A sub who is like submissive to his fetishes, or a sub who just wants to please a woman. and he needs this in his life. A masochist, again, masochism often has nothing to do with submission. But anyway, what are we hiding? A beautiful submission, devotion to a woman? Or are we hiding some sort of perversions? So you are afraid that everyone finds out that you are a pervert, right? And you will get like a claim on your forehead. Weirdo, creep, loser. Because you're supposed to be a strong man. You're not supposed to worship women. You're not supposed to simp for women. So here again, you have to differentiate. What exactly are you ashamed of? Are you ashamed of the things that you do? Like actual things? Is there like a dress in your wardrobe? Like maybe you're hiding it, or maybe you're collecting someone's panties or someone's socks, and these are not the women that you even know. Yeah? There are lots of things you can be actually ashamed of. Is it something not really consensual that you do? Or does the shame stem from your perception of yourself, or how you want to be perceived by other people? Yeah, like how you're supposed to be perceived by other people as a man. Yeah, when other men, if they know that you worship women's feet, they would be like, what, disgusted by you? I'm pretty sure that lots of them would just be like, yeah, I do the same. First of all, when we imagine people who would shame us, okay, not us, I'm not a submissive male, I wanted to say fortunately, but again, there's nothing wrong with being a submissive man. So neutrally, I'm not a submissive man. And when you have someone in your mind, because these are all different social categories, yeah, your family, obviously, because for your wife, it is heartbreaking, it is devastating, because it's like cheating, right? So this is not really about your perversions, even if, yeah, of course, you will be disappointed by that as well. But that's more about cheating. But if we talk about your coworkers, your friends, your relatives, yeah, just some other people, and when they look at you and they, like, imagine that it actually happens. They find out that you're a sub. If all of a sudden they see the type of content that you consume, and they know that you masturbate to it, or they see that you send money to someone, how are you going to feel? What are you going to feel? You have to imagine this. That's the thing. If you want to get rid of fear, and fear comes from shame, and shame brings you to the same cycle, you crave it more and more, only because you're trying to suppress it, only because you're ashamed of it. Yeah, because imagine if you had zero conflict. Yeah, if you were a proud sub, if you were okay with who you are, with everything you are, and it doesn't mean that you are like, tell everyone that you're a sub. It's not about that. It's just about you being comfortable in your own skin. It also takes some part of the taboo element from kink. And then submission doesn't seem so hot to you all of a sudden, yeah? So this taboo element brings a lot of arousal, okay? And the more aroused you become, okay, then you can't control it, you go for it, then you get what you need, and after that, you feel disgusted and you want to run away. You want to hide, you promise yourself not to get back to it, yeah, and you hate it, you hate yourself, and you're scared. You are ashamed of yourself. What have I done again? I'm supposed to be a strong man. I'm not supposed to be some kind of pervert, yeah? And then you're trying to suppress it. The problem is that you don't see it as something good, or at least neutral. And that's why it's so tempting. Forbidden fruit is tempting. Like, we can't do anything with some like basic psychology of human behavior. So some advice that I can give you is that imagine this moment when everyone around you knows that you're a sub. They know everything about you. From now on, it's not a secret anymore. I want you to face your fear. I want you to imagine the face of someone who says the words, "You should be ashamed of yourself. I am so disappointed." Who is that? Who is saying that? Who do you take so much shame from? Someone put it in your mind sometime back. Yeah, like maybe those were your parents or some other caregiver. But again, it will always bring you to some type of situation in the past when you experienced a lot of shame. Because if shame became a deep part of your personality, if you integrated this shame, like into yourself, and probably those were some type of situations, like, for example, when you were a child, the type of situations when it wasn't your shame, it wasn't your guilt, but maybe you felt responsible for someone. Maybe someone shamed you in order to control you. Like, I don't know, I have no idea. But something made you feel ashamed. And you have to realize that, like, that shame wasn't yours. But since now you experience shame pretty much on a daily basis, thinking about it, keeping it in your head, I think it's a huge sign that there was some kind of shame that wasn't, you couldn't get rid of it. You couldn't just like live through it. Okay, like, because you didn't have enough instruments. Like if you were a child, you didn't have enough mental capacity to cope with this. And if we have some certain emotion, we will create, in us, like integrated already, we will create different life scenarios, different situations where we can live through this emotion non-stop, all the time, and you will do it subconsciously. Your mind will always bring you there, the place, the time, the situation where you feel ashamed. But this is like the deeper level. This is for you to work with it. And if we talk about the work with fear, what can you do? You can actually imagine the faces of people who are gonna shame you. You can reach the origin, the source, who was the first one to shame you. Then we can also imagine, some other people around you. Imagine their reaction. I just want you to imagine it in details. What they're gonna say, how they're gonna react, how long is it going to last? Well, pretty much we will all come to the conclusion that no one would even care, probably. No, at first they would. Most people would be like, oh, especially they are not used to it. There will be like a lot of shock, a lot of maybe disgust and like things to discuss, right? But if we talk about, for example, social media, a lot of people are afraid of being blackmailed. People like to discuss something, right? That's a topic. But most of the time, people are too self-absorbed in order to keep this discussion. They just need it as it's some kind of entertainment, to discuss it with someone else, but then they will forget. Okay, I'm talking about, for example, social media, Your friends, are they actually your friends? I noticed this tendency from submissive men. They like to complain how they are trapped in this image of being a strong masculine man. Well, that's on you, okay? I already said it in comparison to what women have been through. And yes, I'm going to compare it here right now. This type of image, what's going to happen if you break this type of image? And again, you're not supposed to, you don't have to. I'm not really encouraging you to be like, I'm a sub, because people understand it wrong when I talk about it. I'm not talking about kink type of submission when I'm saying that you can be like openly a sub. I'm talking more like about the gentleman type of knight who is devoted to a woman. Anyway, when you work with fear, I just wanted you to take it to the absurd level, absolute absurd. Like, what's gonna happen? You're gonna be kicked out from work. You're gonna end up under the bridge, eating trash. What's gonna happen? You will die in poverty. Your wife will leave you. What's gonna happen? if we reach the fear of death, then again, go further. Go further. What's going to happen after death? Especially, like, that's funny if you're a Muslim. So what? You're not going to get 100 virgins because you're a pervert? Or if you're a Christian, you're going to go to hell. But you will love it, okay? Especially if you're a masochist. I want you to take it to the point where you can laugh. Where you can laugh at your own fear. Absurd means ridiculous. Make it ridiculous. Make your fear ridiculous. But then if we jump out to the surface level, from it, I can tell you that devotion to a woman is great. And again, I'm not speaking about kinks, because kinks are supposed to stay in private, where they belong. But there is nothing wrong with private kinks. That's the thing, that lots of men, if they see what you do, they would probably relate. This is such a common story, to be honest. I heard it from many subs when their friends or coworkers found out what they were into. Maybe they confessed, but when they were drunk. Or maybe that slipped out somehow. There would be a man who would say that he's into the same stuff. Because it is absolutely gay not to be into every part of woman's body. There is nothing wrong about it. Like, men are so ashamed, not only of some disturbing fetishes that they have, men are also ashamed of, being simps for women. Oh yeah. I'm not saying that being gay is something shameful, but if you are, just please, you don't have to stay in the closet. You have to come out, have to live your life, okay? But men who shame other men for loving women's body, for being devoted to women, simping for women, is the most gay thing to me. Anyway, share your opinion in the comments down below. I'll be waiting for it, to hear your stories, how you're ashamed of yourself and there is nothing that can help you. Or maybe you're a proud sub. Maybe you use submission as motivation and don't see it as a source of shame, right? Hopefully.